Before we begin applying the foam to the center of the headboard, we need to mark the center of the headboard for where that foam is going to be stapled down. So we've got our pattern laid out, and I've marked half of it using that border piece of pattern, and now we're going to flip it over, and with that half marked, we're going to mark this half. Line it up just like you did on the foam to cut the foam. Now that we're done marking, we're going to take the pattern off, and we're ready to apply the tack strips to the inside edge. Now we're going to take 3 tack strips, and that thickness we're going to apply to the inside of this line. Now the reason we're going to put the tack strips on the headboard is this will give us a place that we can slide our stapler up to as we're doing our fabric, and it'll make a nice clean line for the fabric we're stapling in place all the way around the center. So line your tack strips up right with that line. And we're going to staple those right in place. Now before you get too close to the end and staple that down, what you're going to do is take your scissors and one at a time, you're going to cut those tack strips away. And then what you're going to do is take those tack strips and put the 3 together again, and you're going to butt them right up against where you ended. Now on our headboard, we're going to have curved lines. So one of the things that we're going to do is as we go around, turn this so you can see it, as we go around this curve, all I'm going to do as I staple is pull the tack strips right up to the line, and it will follow that line. Even though they're straight and I've got a curved line, I can push them right where I want them and staple them. With our tack strips stapled in place, we're ready to apply the foam to the center. And what we're going to use is we're going to use some foam adhesive and the piece of foam that Michael's cut for us. And what we're going to do is we're going to spray both of these with the foam adhesive. So the first thing we're going to do is spray inside the line. And then we're going to spray a little bit on the foam. And this adhesive is a pretty quick tack, so you can just press it down with your hands like that. Now, next step we're going to do is take our staple gun, and we're going to staple this onto the tack strips. When you staple the foam in place, take the head of your stapler straight down, right into those tack strips, and just crush the edge of it and staple it in place, just like that. And we're going to staple this all the way around the entire edge. The one thing to remember though is don't staple the bottom edge of the foam. We're going to leave that open for when we put our bonded polyester in place. Now that our foam is totally stapled in place for the center, you can see that we've gone right onto the tack strips. And there's a little bit of the tack strip still showing, that's okay, and along the edge. But you'll also notice that we left this whole bottom open. It's not stapled. In our next step, we're going to take bonded polyester. And the reason we're going to use bonded polyester is this edge down at the bottom, we're going to want to soften the edge of that foam so that it's not such a sharp edge. And we're going to soften the edges all the way around. So take your piece of bonded and center it. And the one thing you're going to do is when you staple this in place, around the edges where you stapled your foam, you're going to staple right back on top of those tack strips. You're not going to go outside of that. You want to be right on top of where you stapled the foam. The one edge that's different is this bottom edge that we didn't staple. And what we're going to do is to begin, you want to soften that, so move it with your hand a little bit, and you're going to staple it right to the bottom edge of that 2x4 right there. So pull it down a little bit, take your stapler, and staple right into that 2x4. Right like that. Now come to the top and pull it a little. You don't have to pull it a lot, but you want to create some shape with it. And go right to the center at the top and staple that right onto the tack strip. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go side to side. And again, you want to just make sure that you don't have any buckles in it. Get a little on each side. Pull it over. And take a look, see where your tack strip is, and staple that right onto that tack strip right there. And then the other side. Now, you're going to follow this around and continue stapling this whole edge all the way around. And then you're going to come up and you're going to staple all the way around the other edges. So if we staple this bottom edge, continue this right down into our corner. Now when you get close to the corner, what you're going to do is take your scissors and cut straight in, okay, like that. You can finish that corner with one more staple. Now what that does is that lets you pull this bonded into the corner, and you can staple that last couple staples in your corner. I've completed stapling the bonded polyester in place, and this lower edge of the headboard, I've trimmed that polyester away so you can see, and it's right along the edge of the back edge of the 2x4. The rest of the face, what you're going to do is come up with your scissors and start trimming, and just follow your scissors right along that tack strip and trim really close. You want to get all of the extra bonded away from the headboard. So even if you have to go back and retrim just a little bit of it here and there. And now, after we've clipped all the rest and trimmed the rest of the bonded away from the edge here, we're ready to apply the center fabric.
As you can see, making your headboard is easy. You can cut your time in half with a complete kit. Each kit has pre-cut wood ready to assemble and all the supplies you'd need to make your project complete. Even the tools make the project easier. Choose a style that fits your bedroom and see more options and ideas on the DVD. Our next step for the headboard is fabric for the center. Check out episode 3 coming soon.